Chippewa County Board of Commissioners to order. As always, we start with a pledge. Would Commissioner Johnson start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And would the clerk please take roll call attendance?
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner McLean.
Here.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Here. We have everybody here, so we have a quorum and we'll continue. Additions, deletions, and agenda approval. Any?
Go ahead. I'll move approval of the agenda as presented.
I'll support it.
Motion made and supported that the agenda be approved as submitted. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. Item 5 is approval of county board minutes. We have two meetings, regular board meeting of June 16th, 2016, and the public hearing of truth and taxation, which was also June 16th, 2016. I think we can do those together, if whoever makes the motion chooses to.
I'll move we accept both those. I'll support.
Motion made and supported to accept the minutes of those two meetings. Is there any discussion? All in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. Correspondence received in the clerk's office is on page 18. And as usual, a variety, a potpourri as it were, of correspondence in the clerk's office.
I move that we acknowledge the correspondence received in the clerk's office and forward them to committees if necessary. Support.
Motion made and supported that correspondence received be acknowledged and forwarded as appropriate. Is there discussion on that motion? All in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. Motion carries. We move to public comment portion of our agenda. Anyone who would like to address the county board, this is your opportunity. We don't have the rostrum quite in place, so I would just invite you to come up and stand next to either of these tables or take a chair if you choose. Okay, public comment period's closed. No, I was just kidding.
Okay, so where do you want me?
Wherever you want.
Anywhere, huh?
Yeah, why don't you go right there? You can sit or stand, whatever you like.
Well, I wanted to come in here and talk about Mike Bittner, and he didn't show up. And I want to talk about Mr. Postma, and he didn't show up. And I want to talk about Deputy Carrick, and I don't know if he showed up or not, because I don't know what he looks like. But I know this isn't him. So I'm going to wait till next month. And I've been researching fraud on the court, and actually, that's why I'm after Judge Nebo. And you guys are familiar with that. Judge Nebo and Mike Winnick lied to the court. And if you choose to support them, I really wish you wouldn't. But I mean, they knew what they were doing when they did it, and if you can't justify it, under no way you can justify it, and it's illegal, then I don't think you should be paying their lawyer fees. But we've been through that before. There are lots to talk about, but I think this fraud on the court is going to help me a lot, because when that woman lied about me and said that she was in charge of the permits and all the paperwork for the permits and the licenses for the United States, Guam, Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands, and that I had never been issued a permit, well, it's right here. You know, so that's fraud on the court. But then I go back and I'm thinking, is she an officer of the court? Because maybe she's not an officer of the court. She's a special agent with the ATF. And this Declare, he said, he meaning me, showed them, meaning Pep and Rico, my then permit. It wasn't real, wasn't the right color. They didn't know it wasn't real, and they sold me the explosives. Well, maybe he's not an officer of the court either. I got it. It says officer of the court is the judge, or the lawyers, or the chairperson. But I don't know if ATF officer, But I was in prison where a bunch of guys were let out, maybe 50 of them around the United States, because this bunch of police lied, and the prosecutor, whoever. But anyhow, they lied, and these people were sent to prison. Well, then there was enough of them, where there's only me here. But there was enough of them, and they went out and got lawyers, and that ain't gonna happen here. Because I went to the bank the other day and I wanted to borrow 25,000. I mean, I can borrow 25,000, I always could. But Ron Meister said, John, you're a convicted felon, you can't borrow money. I said, what? It's still me, you know? But, so anyhow, I'll just keep representing myself, and I'm working with a bunch of lawyers to see if I can get them to help me on some kind of a contingency. But it don't matter. I don't even care if I don't win. At least you know. At least you know. And you will know. Because I don't have nothing to hide. Nothing. And I just passed out some papers about a guy named Wagner, right here. He said that me and Mark fly our plane back and forth to Cuba, from Cuba to Canada. An outright lie. Outright lie. But they can do it. And nobody, they're not held accountable? How is that possible? Just like this woman here lied that said I never issued a permit. Well, if the jury would have seen that I was issued a permit, and I've been buying explosives for years and years and years before you ever needed a permit to buy explosives. And if you would have seen that I did have a permit and I didn't even need a permit. When I call Pepinrico or Austin Powder or Reed Powder, whoever, and I say, this is John Heckman, this is my number, and this is what I need, they'll say, all right, it'll be ready when you get here. You know, it's too many lies, and you're gonna hear all of them before the year's up. Thank you.
Anyone else under public comment? This is your opportunity. Last chance under public comment. Public comment period is closed. We move to the administrator's report. Administrator German.
You'll see the various monthly reports from the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Sheriff's Department, War Memorial Hospital, and Animal Control. We also have some correspondence that you might want to take a look at for future reference. Some of it we've already gone over, such as the dark stores. We've had a couple of new lawsuits and unemployment claims this week that's been taking up a great deal of Kelly's and mine's time. And lastly, I'd like to make sure that you're all invited and aware of the Employee of the Quarter tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator German. Line 9 on our agenda is old business, and there are no items under old business. So without objection, I'll advance to number 10, new business. And we do have a few items under new business. The first one is Resolution 16-17. This is a resolution of special recognition of David Martin, and David is here with us today. And David, of course, being with the health department for so many years and doing an exceptional job, and going to be retiring. And this recognition is to thank you for your service.
I move approval of resolution 1617, a resolution special recognition for David Martin.
I would support.
Motion made and supported to approve the resolution of recognition for Mr. Martin. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Job well done.
If we don't approve this, does he have to stay?
You can't make them.
Well, never mind.
Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. And it is approved, and again, our appreciation for all your service to the county, David. We move to Resolution 1618 as a resolution supporting the UP Area Agency on Agencing fiscal year 2017-2019 multi-year plan for services to the elderly.
I would move resolution 1618.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve Resolution 1618. Is there any discussion? This is something we do every year or 2 years, correct?
Yeah, this is, could I
Okay, please.
I'm on the UPCAP committee, and it's the Upper Peninsula Commission on Area Progress, and one of their subsidiaries is the programs that they run for the elderly. They run them for community action and a variety of other things. And this is, they do quite a job, but we're really not that familiar with them because we pass a resolution every couple of years and things happen like they're supposed to. So we're in the process tonight of passing that resolution or considering that resolution in order to continue these services.
Okay. Anyone else? Will the clerk please take a line, or rather a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes, that passes. C is Resolution 1619, supporting safe operation in Line 5 and to cease and desist crude oil and to complete and share independent study.
Move we support resolution 1619.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported that we approve Resolution 1619. Any discussion?
Just a quick clarification, that the crude be removed from line 5 at this point, until we get an independent inspection of it, saying that that's safe. But we simply cannot, it would not be responsible nor prudent to pull it out of the water at this point, based upon the history of line 6. And that's it.
Okay, anyone else? No? I'm gonna, I rarely do this, I'm gonna blow my own horn for a second. I was looking at at this issue, and it reminded me that in 2002, I passed House Bill 5118 that became a public act that prohibited directional drilling under our Great Lakes. And I probably should have mentioned that to all those people who were here last month. I think they would have found that interesting. But it was very controversial, and I certainly broke with our governor at the time, and I think it was a good thing we did for the Great Lakes and for Michigan. On this one, as you know, I still sort of have some reservation, only because I think that we're sort of saying we don't really know what the condition is. It may be good, it may be bad, but we don't care, we're just gonna call for this. But my gut feeling is, and I'm guessing you feel the same, it's just kinda hard to feel comfortable about oil moving through it. So I understand where you're coming from on that, and I think I'll vote with you on it. Anyone else? Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. We move to standing committee reports. The first one is and that passes, I didn't make that notation. Building Grounds and Jail, Legislative, Natural Resources, Information Tech. Commissioner Johnson, you have a report for us, please.
Yes, the Building and Grounds held a meeting on June 30th. We discussed the roofs, did a little tour. We moved to finance, and we've gotten some more information from Jim German, so this meeting was more or less an informative meeting, and we just moved on. And I ask for acceptance.
Support.
There's a motion made and supported. Could you please tell me exactly what the motion is?
Accept the report.
Just to accept the report of the whole thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
it all moved to finance.
All right, so we're just kind of skipping over the motion that was made at that meeting. Because there was a voice vote to forward it to finance, so, okay, I gotcha. Okay, good. Let me I'll just note too that when I read this, we're talking about potentially changing the pitch on some roofs on the old courthouse. And I would certainly have some reservation about changing the appearance of that historic building. But I understand we're not doing anything right now, and we'll talk about it in the future. Okay. So the motion is made to accept the minutes of the meeting. Is there further discussion on that?
Just,
Go ahead.
the committee climbed up on the roof, which was an experience. Always an experience to go up into the bell tower, but going out on the roof was a new experience. And it was obvious when we got up there and looked around and looked down at the various other components and talked that, you know, something needs to be done. And what has been done in the past apparently isn't adequate. So we put a lot of thought into it, and I think that we're, by not doing anything at this time, it's the right thing to do. We need to look at next season, if we do decide to do something, the construction season, the prices would be better in the spring. And it would take a lot of effort, but we can still do that after the first of the year. And it was just interesting, always an interesting experience to go into the area and look around at the building and so on. And I got lost.
Well,
Yeah, we had to go looking for him, Mr. Chairman.
well, how long did it take? How long were you missing? I didn't see it show up on any of my milk boxes in the fridge, so it couldn't have been too long, so. Any other comments?
Just that, like Commissioner McLean said, it's a problem that needs to be fixed right instead of just fixing it the way that it's always been fixed. And it's something that needs to be looked into more in depth than we have done to this point.
Yep, I agree, and again, we'll talk about this more in detail, but I just say that since that building was built, a lot has changed in the way we roof buildings. And there's a lot of flat roofs in Sault Ste. Marie, and the ones that hold up well are generally the ones with the solid membrane roofing. And I think we certainly have some or all over there. Probably doesn't last forever, but that solid membrane roofing generally is the way you address flat roofs these days. But again, we keep saying we're gonna talk about in detail later, but we can't help but, I think that the problem is that it's a historic building, and we all care about the building, we care about how it looks, and we care about its historic, status. So, it will be an interesting debate as we move forward. So.
Just want to mention that Administrator German contacted the State Historical Society relative to the historic significance of the building. And when they heard what we were looking to do, there was a possible offer of an architect from that group to come up and look at the building and to do some architectural work so that we could maintain the integrity of the building as much as possible, but do what we need to do.
Anyone else? Motion's made to accept the minutes of the meeting of June 30th. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to finance claims and accounts. Commissioner Martin?
Regular meeting of Chippewa County Board of Commissioners Finance Claims and Account was held on Thursday, July 7th, 2016, at Chippewa County Courthouse. The meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m. with a quorum present. Myself, Don McLean, Connor Egan, and Rudy Johnson were there. Mr. Shackleton was absent. Jim German and Kelly Church were there. Moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Johnson to approve the agenda, and on a voice vote, that motion carried. There was no public comment offered. The committee did receive the monthly treasurer's investment report, monthly travel report, and visa billing statement. And we had a short discussion on keeping our investments local as much as possible, so long as we were doing so and getting the highest rate of return possible. And it's something we'll discuss down the road. Agenda item, emergency management homeland security grant of $21,210. Reviewing that grant with emergency management and homeland security. The allocation is 35.6931% of the subrecipient's emergency program. After very short discussion, it was moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner McLean, to accept and approve the Michigan State Police Emergency Management Performance Grant allocation of $21,210. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve that emergency management homeland security grant. Is there discussion?
This is pretty much standard fare. It's something that happens regularly, so we're just, I guess, accepting the money that they're offering and putting it to where it's supposed to be.
Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next item was the liquor tax fund request, North Care Network approval and authorization. We discussed that for UP Prevention, Recovery and Treatment Services, Chippewa County funded with a portion of liquor tax received from the county. Or should that be the state?
Probably the state.
Liquor tax, okay, I thought liquor, okay. North Care is seeking renewal for the fiscal year 17 funds, and the amount was $163,521. We discussed the fact that this $163,521 is eventually going to disappear because of changes. We need to be very aware of that money will disappear down the road. Do we have a timetable on that, Administrator German?
They couldn't give me an exact timetable.
Okay. As such, it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve and authorize the renewal of fiscal years 2017 to match fiscal year 16 level at a minimum of $163,521 for services provided by North Care Network and following substance use disorder services policies. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported regarding the liquor tax and the North Care Network. Is there discussion on the motion?
Just institutional question for the chair who has some experience with this. Why would they tie it into the Coble Hall project? Is that so they can put a sunset on it, or how does that work?
It was just done historically in the Coble Hall. Okay, I'm trying to reach way back into when I learned about this about 15 years ago. To be honest with you, the Coble Hall was something that the Detroit, the Detroit Southeast Michigan has a large contingent of legislators.
Mm-hmm.
They got their way on a lot of different issues that were sort of, to put it nice, special treatment. And that's really, anytime you see anything like Coble Hall or that sort of thing,
Right.
it's because they managed to shoehorn it through.
Okay.
It was just sheer numbers of people who got up and managed to get it done.
Okay.
You know, if we had a third of the legislators in the state of Michigan up here representing the Upper Peninsula, we get a lot of special stuff. You know?
Some new infrastructure, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I have real concerns about this because the money that we get from this serves quite a purpose in drug prevention, treatment, and this type of thing. And
Also, law enforcement, correct?
it's
It
a
helps pay
variety
for some
of
of the
things.
law enforcement.
Yeah, to deal with really important issues that when it does disappear, those issues are not gonna disappear with it.
Only the funding.
You know, and it's, to me, a trend that the state has been following the last number of years and just sort of doing away with their responsibilities and dumping them on the counties. And it's a county issue, it's something truly important.
In fact, substance abuse issues are going to become more prevalent, especially with the rise in heroin use. It's coming, there's no question about it, and how we deal with it is something we need to look at sooner than later.
It's here.
Yeah,
It's not coming, it's here.
I know, it's
The
here,
opiate
but-
problem is here, and everybody knows it.
Okay. Okay, so any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, the officer delegation certification form. Long story short, if appropriate, we will send Kelly or Administrator German or his designee to the MERS conference. If not, they will not. After a short discussion, it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to authorize the administration to determine the 2016 officer delegation for the September MERS annual conference. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Who supported it? Okay.
Rudy.
I was trying to help you on that, because I heard them both at the same time.
I'm sorry.
Okay. The clerk will pick one.
Yes.
Motion is made and supported. Is there discussion?
I think we need to recognize this is an important business, MERS, that we're involved with, and this conference is held each year. And I guess it reflects back on all of our people who work for the county. They don't waste money just to go to a meeting. I imagine it would be either in Detroit or Lansing or Grand Rapids.
Looks like it's Traverse City.
Traverse.
It's even
You know,
cheaper.
who wouldn't wanna go to Traverse City on the county dollar? But I think that, both Kelly and Jim are really, very aware of where the money comes from and how it's lacking and how to spend it wisely, and I appreciate that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, we talked about positive energy and waiving the county purchasing policy for county building quote. These lights, long story short, in 4 years, we get all of our money back. And then after that, it's all savings for the taxpayers. Consequently, it's moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Egan, to approve the quote for the Chippewa County Building, 325 Court Street, lighting from Positive Energy at a cost of $39,005.90, an approximate 4-year return on the change with an estimated rebate of $6,712, and to waive the county purchasing policy on a voice vote. That motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Okay, motion made and supported. Is that for this building then, Kelly?
No.
That's for this building? Okay.
Oh, yes,
And
we're
is
in
that the last of it?
Yes,
This will, we all converted over to energy saving LED?
yes.
Yep.
Central dispatch is complete, animal control has one light left, is left to be put up. They have, the jail, they're waiting on some interior bulbs, 3-foot LEDs are not here yet. 2 outside lights, the courthouse is done, and then they'll do the interior, this building will be done.
And so I presume so far we're happy with the company.
Yes.
They've been good to work with.
Yeah,
And
we've gotten our
yeah.
first rebate check already from Cloverland,
Yep.
and everything, they do all the paperwork, we just sign and
Yep.
all set.
And you said that check was actually higher than we thought it was gonna be, the rebate.
Yeah, a little bit.
So,
We did have, some grief up in the jail, that took them a lot more time than they thought it was going to because of the security nuts and bolts that are used. So there was, it took a lot longer in the jail. They didn't charge us any extra, but there was some grief for our staff and their guests.
Okay. All right, well, it saves a lot of money on energy use, and there are rebates available now, and we've been optimizing those rebates as much as possible, so. Any further discussion on the motion?
Just like to mention that the courthouse looks great at night.
Okay. All in favor, vote aye.
alright.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, with Medicare Advantage change for employees and retirees. The committee's update on the proposed change for Chippewa County retirees and dependents to Medicare Advantage. This is a great plan. It's saving everybody money. It does have one tiny downside that has a tiny extra for people with special prescriptions, but it will save tens of thousands of dollars every single year from here on out. Consequently, it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to formally approve the county's switching to the BCBS Medicare Advantage plan effective January 1st, 2017. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. And when you mentioned that there's the one tiny downside, I just mentioned that what you're referring to is sort of the list of benefits. And out of all those benefits, they're either staying the same or being better.
Most are better.
Most are better for the individuals covered. There's just this one that's not better, and is in fact a bit worse. But cumulatively, it's a better plan.
Yes.
Mr. German.
I would remind the commission, I think I mentioned it before, that all 9 unions will be put into this plan, that AFSCME has verbally agreed to be put into the plan, and the only people we have not heard back from is the road patrol and corrections and dispatchers, who are all under Mr. Price, and that still has yet to be worked out.
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if the coverage is comparable to what is current, and they're not presenting any objection, then we should be able to just do it.
We should be able to, but we're, as Mr. Canello suggested, we're trying to work with them
Oh, yeah.
for a solution before we were to go ahead with that.
Okay, because it's, I think as we've said multiple times, in total, it's better coverage, you know. And I do know that there's other companies in town that'd be interested in, bidding on our, healthcare services, insurance in the future, and I think we need to, recognize that and give them the opportunity when and where we can. I think right now, we're kinda making a change that we need to kinda work with our current provider in order to get this in place. And, I presume that's what we're about to do. So is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next, building grounds, jail, legislative, natural resources, and information technology motion. Reviewed and discussed a motion from June 30th meeting regarding hiring an architectural engineer to proceed with designs and bidding services. We've already kind of touched on what we were talking about here. We do not want to lose the historical integrity of our building. We also talked about the issue of a slanted roof and ice and snow falling down on people and sidewalks. Consequently, looking at all the roadblocks here, not knowing for sure about that architect being able to come up from the Historical Society, we decided that we would not take any action at this point, and I would so move. No, don't. I don't know. I've never had to
No,
have
I'm
this
just
happen, so-
confused, cause that's
no
not
action
the motion says.
There's no action taken, so I don't know
Just
where we go.
information.
Kelly, help us out.
No action taken.
You don't need to.
We
Okay,
don't need-
no action taken.
Okay.
So
So-
just go.
Move on.
All right, we're moving on then. Next, we have bills and payroll. Moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner McLean to recommend the approval of June bills and payroll as follows. General claims totaling $357,279.03. Other fund claims of $756,580.22. Payroll of $442,047.30. Health Department claims of $474,698.80. For total claims of $2,030,605.35. And vouchers H1 through H288 on a voice vote. That motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we pay the claims and accounts. Is there discussion? As always, the commission is presented with an entire list of everything that is paid for the month. And we're able to look them over line item by line item. And if no one has any questions, then I will call the question. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Then moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner McLean to approve the beginning fund balance as presented from the fiscal year 2015 audit. On a voice vote, that motion carried. And I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Then moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner Egan to approve the budget amendments as presented for fiscal year 2016. I've always voted that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that the budget amendments that were presented be approved as presented. And these are usually just a lot of housekeeping in order to put everything in sync with where we're at or where it needs to be. Is there any discussion on it? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Then during committee comments and chairman's comments, Commissioner Egan began discussion of internal control audit to see if the county can better allocate funds. We may or may not move forward with such a thing. And then we discussed the resolution that we just passed about line 5. And we adjourned at 6:35. And I would move that we accept the minutes of finance, claims and accounts from July 7th, 2016.
Support.
Motion made to accept the minutes and the report of finance claims and accounts. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Okay, so we're all the way down to, let me take a look here. I keep going over the finance agenda. Commissioner report on meetings as board representative and general comments. Anyone on this side? Anyone?
No. Well, just very quickly, you sent me the email. Yes, we
I
got our
usually
wish.
start at the left,
the
I thought
meeting.
I'd start at the right.
Yeah, got to start on the right. But anyhow, the Upper Peninsula Commissioners meeting is coming to Bay Mills in October. So hopefully we can all attend that and get our friends in Mackinac and Luce and Schoolcraft to come over here and
It's a mid-month if I remember, 13th, 14th,
October,
something like that?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
That's good. So that's a good time for me too, to be able to go out there.
At our last upcap meeting, I saw Don talking to somebody about possibly, I think it might have been twisting your arm just a little bit, maybe the upcap, getting it down here.
Oh, yeah,
Would you do something like that, Commissioner McLean?
pardon?
Would you do something like that,
No, I
Commissioner
don't-
McLean? I didn't think so.
I'm innocent.
Commissioner McLean,
I've got a comment. I'd just like to.
I'll get back to you.
Like to touch on that, the idea of that audit. I brought it up. You know, in my opinion, this is something that can benefit the county. It's something that can take us from using a DOS system to something that maybe is a little bit more modern and make it a little easier for the staff to use, and maybe also find some ways to save the taxpayers' money. So it's definitely something we need to look into. The costs, the benefits, all of it.
Commissioner McLean.
Okay, I just want to mention that since, the last little bit of time, last few weeks, we had something that was really surprising, the shooting in Benton Harbor, St. Joseph's area with 2 bailiffs and other people, 2 bailiffs killed and, 2 other people injured. And that's a small community in Michigan. And it's not, it's different than the Upper Peninsula, but still it's similar in other ways. And it really makes us rethink what we need to consider relative to security. When we redid this building, we did a lot for security because of the lockup. That door out there leads into a cell. If you're familiar with it, if you've ever taken the tour, it's really worthwhile. Not to spend time in jail, but just to see how the security works. And so this courtroom is fairly well covered, security, but I think we still have some concerns relative to what happens when they trek all the way over to the circuit court. We do a number of things, taking them various ways and using the elevator and being careful, but that, wasn't expected. That fella wrestled the gun away from the sheriff, the deputy, and then just went from there. So
Yep.
we always need to be aware of that, and we have representatives from the sheriff's department here at each meeting in order to cover issues, and we appreciate that. At least I do.
Mr. German.
I know I'm not a commissioner, Mr. Chair, so thank you, but I would like to point out that even though the selections for tomorrow are not rural patrol officers, there will be a moment of silence and dedication of the past week's shooting of our officers in Dallas and Berrien and a number of other places that I've seen around the country. And coming from a father who's a state trooper, I think it's really important about what's going on, and I can't thank enough to our rural patrol. They're our first line of defense in this county, and we do everything that we can in administration to support them.
I stand with the police as well. Anyone else? Motion to adjourn would be appropriate at this time.
So moved.
Motion made and supported to adjourn. All in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed vote nay. This meeting is adjourned.
Richard, we're really showing the-
This is the first one pop